Duke Nukem Nuclear Winter starts off with the profoundly non-secular statement that everyone loves Christmas, something that a whopping 69.9% of the population likely immediately disagrees with. Perhaps Nuclear Winter developer Simply Silly Software, whose previous projects were solely comprised of 2 shovelware Doom level compilations, assumed that if everyone loved Christmas, then everyone who loves Duke Nukem 3D will also love Duke Nukem Nuclear Winter. This is, of course, wrong, and if you are unaware, of the scant 3 official Duke 3D expansions, Nuclear Winter is hailed as the shittiest by far by fans and critics alike. Does it really deserve such hate? Yes! Is it completely without merit? Ugh. Duke Nukem Nuclear Winter was released in January 1998, 2 years after the original release of Duke 3D, and in tandem with the incomprehensibly superior expansion Life's a Beach. It boasts no new weapons, 5 new levels, 2 new levels, copy and pasted right from Hollywood Holocaust, reskinned enemies, irritating new enemies, and no assault captains. The opening cutscene gives us the flimsiest of plots as an excuse for the Christmas carnage. The FEM, Feminist Elf Militia, has kidnapped Santa, and it's up to Duke, donning the role of the yoked Yuletide badass, to save him. Ending spoilers, you shoot Santa in the fucking face with an RPG, so I'm not sure how Duke is actually saving him, and why is the elf a dentist? We are immediately plopped into Deja Vu, ostensibly a rehash of Red Light District from the first episode with minor changes. You proceed through the level backwards, starting from the exit to Death Row and finishing at the end of LA Meltdown. Caveat emptor that this is already giving Simply Shitty Software too much credit, but I do like the idea of retreading past levels backwards. In theory, it evokes an almost nostalgic feeling that fits somewhat well with the Christmas theme. Speaking of themes, I can cover the entire episode's music right now. Every level has a public domain Christmas MIDI to score the bloodshed, and they are all terrible. Back to the level. Succinctly, it's quite uninspired, and only has a coat of 90s Christmas paint to differentiate it from Red Light District. After leaving the starting area, you are immediately introduced to half the new enemies: snowball-pelting snowmen and the aforementioned frosted battle-mobiles. These frosted flakes are souped-up versions of the Pig Cop tank, with the added irritation of no instant detonation button on the back of them. Additionally, we meet the Flying Frosty, a reskinned assault commander that shoots freeze-thrower projectiles. Simply Soggy Software did not modify their sound effects. Marvel as Frosty tells you to suck it down. They didn't even bother to reskin the porn store. However, there is a cozy hot tub area that I would definitely hang out in. This level sucks. On to the next one.
Rockin'.
Where It All Began continues with the same concept of Deja Vu, except this time you are plowing through LA Meltdown, which happens to be one of the most memorable levels in first-person shooter history. The familiar locations are boarded up or noticeably dilapidated. This again evokes that quasi-nostalgic sense of return, like Duke is in a bad Hallmark movie and he's returning home to a place no longer familiar. However, beyond getting to see Frosty slap some elvish ass, there's basically zero innovation built on the original level. We also get introduced to the 2 elf enemies fairly quickly, the dual-wielding elvish grunt and the shotgun-toting elvish groan. A pun so terrible that my broken dopamine receptors actually like it quite a bit. Upon their death, they leave behind a neatly bow-wrapped present, containing either armor, a chain gun, a shotgun, or a large medkit. I unironically love this, but perhaps it's the cheerleader effect in full force, and I like it so much because it's the only good idea amidst a group of shitty ones. Beyond having the option for Duke to murder wailing carolers in cold blood, there's not much else to say about this level. Another yawn-inducing retread.
Gonna rip 'em a new one.
This level is so bad that the music itself procrastinates for a few seconds before finally relenting and acknowledging the start of it. This level is the first original one in the episode. It sets the tone for the design of future levels as both simultaneously hodgepodge and cruel. Like an orgy in a sauna, there's fleeting glimpses of something good that's still entirely enveloped by an overall bad experience. The level contains references to Super Mario, Doom's E1M1, and even a cute Christmas cabin. These are all executed in the most lame way possible. Mario is both immobile and immune to death. The E1M1 reference is so brief as to feel pointless. And you can't go down the damn chimney. In fact, you never get to go down a chimney. That's like an Easter egg game without eggs, or a Vincent van Gogh WarioWare game without an ear-chopping segment. The issues I have with this level are numerous. There are several tripwire traps which conveniently remain invisible until you're right on top of them. Despite knowing exactly where they are, I still manage to take damage. There's a very stupid teleport puzzle that abuses build engine trickery to make you brute force the right order while taking damage in the process. There's an ambush by two Frosty mobiles that almost causes my first death. And lastly, the level just kind of ends without much fanfare. The off-key xylophone rendition of Jingle Bell Rock fading out in the distance is basically the only solace offered.
Let's rock.
Santa's Corporate HQ is my personal favorite level, but that's like saying my thumb is my favorite bone to break. I enjoy this level so much because it's the first in the whole pack to actually feel like a Christmas level. There's softly falling snow, ambient red lighting, Christmas decorations everywhere, and even the naughty list. The whole experience is fairly linear, starting from the entrance, moving through some offices, ending with an outdoor battle, and a subsequent leap of faith. However, where we land is far, far worse than where we leapt from.
Ready for action.
The back door begins with a strong indicator of the level's quality. Two broken, frosty enemy sprites just sit at the bottom of the entrance, waiting. Briefly, the level is an agonizing gauntlet that's lousy with enemy ambushes, tripwire traps, and unimaginative design. Octobrains are finally introduced, but without any kind of merry makeover, not even a lazily pasted on Santa hat. I actually got lucky and had one of the elves detonate the tripwire by clipping through a wall. Anyway, it's a by-the-numbers slog. I wish that it was comically broken and bad, but unfortunately it has only reached the bland level on its scale of incompetence. They probably should have just remixed another OG Duke level. On to the penultimate challenge.
Gonna rip 'em a new one.
Christmas Village is only a slightly better experience. You parade through Santa's office in the nearby village, scouring for keys and fighting waves of the same enemies copy and pasted over and over. There's also about a billion Frosty Battlemobiles too. The rare elf grunt variant that has dual-wield shrinkers seems to only show up in this level, and they absolutely dunked on me. Pro tip, eating steroids immediately makes you regular size again, especially when shrunk. I wish that there were more of these rare variants to improve the episode's challenge. Then the whole experience would feel less like taking an Ambien while Santa Claus tries to describe the gameplay of Duke Nukem 3D in another language. There's a room with a single thin sector on the wall that's carpet colored for no reason. This feels like the climax to the entire episode.
Rockin'.
Put down your goblets of Yule and rejoice, for we have made it to the last level. Our gift is another almost amusing linear level where we have to find and rescue or defeat or whatever Santa Claus. It's a straightforward affair. We plow through droves of Frosties, pig cops, and elves to grab key cards to push us through the level. Also, the hamburgers bleed when shot. I do have to admit the Toys for Poor Children got me. I did not expect such scathing capitalist critiques from Duke Nuclear Winter. More like simply socialist software, am I right? The level design funnels you towards Santa's office, where his secret plans for world domination are found.
So you have found my secret plans. Now you must die.
But I thought he was kidnapped. Don't worry, I'm not gonna go all Cinema Sins on a rushed Christmas-themed expansion for a 30-year-old game. However, it still makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, leaving this area, we encounter Santa Claus himself, an extremely lazily reskinned Duke sprite that lobs RPG rounds and chain gun bursts at us while howling, "It's not nice to shoot Santa." He doesn't even have a corpse sprite. Why wasn't the final boss an evil elf? Then the credits roll, proclaiming that we saved old Saint Nick instead of showing his lifeless, charred body perforated with bullets and rocket rounds. You may ask yourself, what's the fucking point? There's maybe 2 levels altogether that seem to be only approaching enjoyable. Well, with the dearth of Christmas games, especially Christmas first-person shooters, it's unfortunately a seller's market and we can't be too choosy. I'll be honest and say that I replay Nuclear Winter around the holidays for that reason. It's dumb, poorly designed fun that feels like playing a D-grade Santa versus the Martians. If you can stomach that in gameplay form and titrate your expectations appropriately, you'll be fine. Nah, just kidding. The real point is that I edited the GRP file to add in Tim Allen from the Santa Claus as the final boss. Merry Christmas, bastards!
What? No milk and cookies for Santa?